Kia ora and welcome along to Monday's Met Service look at the weather across the rest of New Zealand. Well, we have got a fairly active spell of weather to start the week. We've got some stronger winds, some heavier rainfall and even some snowfall as we start the week. The good news is as we go through the week, we're set to find things settling back down again by the weekend, but to get there we've got some fairly active weather. We have already seen some of the rainfall feeding on towards those far southern and western coasts. You can see those red crosses showing some thunderstorms as well. As we head through the rest of today, we're carrying on seeing that band of cloud, that front moving northwards, bringing some wetter weather on towards that western coast. Ahead of it as well, some stronger northwesterlies, a bit of a taste of some stronger and wetter weather as we go through in towards Tuesday. But here's how we go through the rest of this afternoon. You can see that wet weather feeding in towards Fiordland through there, some heavy rainfall, and we have got some severe weather watches, not just for Fiordland, but also up in towards the ranges of Westland, and with a good strong northwesterly as well. That will push that rainfall in towards the headwaters of the Canterbury and Otago Lake St rivers as well. You can see that we've not lost those stronger winds, still with those northwesterlies pushing on towards that western coast. As we go through in towards Monday, in towards Tuesday, you'll find those strengthening winds still with us across the likes of, say, Southland, Otago. This next feature runs in as we go through in towards Tuesday, and we are going to find some pretty epic winds through there. So as we go through Tuesday, again up towards the South Island, that's where all the activity is. It's those stronger winds, that heavier rainfall on towards the western coast. And you can see that snowfall as well, some heavy snow to watch out for, but across those more southern parts of our patch. Above about 400 or 500 metres, seeing the heaviest snowfall as we head towards the end of the day on Tuesday. But you can see those winds are reaching up towards the central parts of the country. So some strengthening winds through parts of Marlborough, up towards the Sounds, in through Wellington and those southern parts of Wairarapa. And we'll find those winds even reaching up towards the far northern parts of our patch by the time we head through towards Wednesday. So there are some severe weather watches and warnings. Now, most of them are on the south, and we have got a few warnings out for the likes of, say, Wellington as well. But for the heavy rainfall, we're looking towards that western coast through parts of Fiordland and Westland as we go through today in towards Tuesday. For the strongest winds, we're heading across towards that eastern side. So again, Fiordland, Southland, Stewart Island, up in towards the Canterbury Plains, Canterbury High Country. Those winds increasing northwesterlies at first, but once they swing around to be more of that southwesterly, places like Dunedin, Clutha, that you're in for those warnings as well. And those at the moment are watches, but they may well get upgraded to warnings as we head through the night time. At the moment, we're thinking of winds perhaps reaching severe gale in the most exposed areas. Do keep an eye on the forecast. You can see we've got that warning as well out for those areas of Marlborough north of about Ward and those southern parts of Wellington and Wairarapa for those winds increasing later in the day on Tuesday. So keep an eye on those watches and warnings. And like I say, we've also got a watch out for some snowfall through parts of Southland, Otago, the Canterbury Lakes area, and across in towards Fiordland as well. Now, the heaviest snowfall above about 400 or 500 metres as we go towards the end of the day on Tuesday. But we are going to keep an eye on that. And it's worth saying as well, if you're planning to do those crossings across places like the Linders Pass or perhaps the Crown Range Road, do keep in mind we could find some snowfall about the tops of those passes pretty much from the afternoon on Tuesday. So plenty of watches and warnings. Head along to the Met Service website for all the latest information on those. But you can see for the North Island, things generally aren't looking too bad, particularly up towards the likes of, say, Tairafete, a fine, dry-looking day there. Fine, plenty of sunshine, even a good-looking day through most of the Bear Plenty as well. There will be more cloud around this western side, and we are going to find some showers with us as we head through daytime. Perhaps a few more pushing in towards that far southern part, down towards, say, the Taurua range, the Kapiti Coast, Horowhenua. But I think towards the end of the day, it's just more cloud feeding in towards Wellington as well. Keep in mind, we'll find those winds increasing as we head through daytime, especially around the Sounds and down towards Wellington and the southern parts of Wairarapa. But you can see the best place to be if you're looking for dry, bright weather, it's out towards that northeastern corner of Tairafete, looking like a great looking Tuesday and a fine start to August. Here are our temperatures as we go through the daytime. So again, highs back to around about 20 degrees Celsius, so a very warm start today for the likes of Napier. But elsewhere, we're looking at temperatures around about 15 to about 17 degrees Celsius, and nothing too cold overnight as we head through towards the early hours of Wednesday. That will change as we go through the week. Heading down towards the South Island, a lot of the active wet weather is on that western coast. You can see that moves northwards as we go through daytime, but some heavy rainfall down towards the likes of, say, Western to start day. That next front runs in, pushes that rain in towards Southland and Otago, runs northwards through Canterbury as we head through daytime. You can see it does improve behind it as we head in towards the evening time, but that rain then moves northwards. Snow from about the tops of the ranges. As we go through towards the afternoon, we've got those stronger winds. As we go through Tuesday, we've got those stronger winds, so we have got those watches across many parts of the South Island. Still those really strong, even gale force southwesterlies around the southern part of the country, pushing in those showers And you can see we've still got the return of that snowfall about the higher parts. Above about 400 or 500 metres, that's probably where we're going to find the heaviest snowfall. And I think those inland parts of Otago. So well worth keeping an eye on those watches and warnings, both for that wind, that rainfall, and also that snowfall through these more central parts of Otago and Southland. In terms of our temperatures, well, a fairly academic, feeling 15 degrees Celsius, but feeling much colder in the wind for the likes of, say, Christchurch. As we head down south, at 10s and 11s down towards parts of Southland and Otago. Overnight temperatures will be on the cold side, especially once that front clears through, back down below freezing there for the likes of Mount Cook. But I think even Queenstown back down below freezing, we are going to find, I think, a rather cold feel as we go through the next couple of days. As we go through to Wednesday, you can see we've got those southwesterlies running up in towards Auckland North, and that wet weather feeding across the Northland as well. Still some snowfall, so worth bearing that in mind for that Desert Road crossing first thing on Wednesday. You can see we're still left with a scattering of showers down south, and they will have a fairly good wintry feel to them, above about 400 or 500 metres down there as well. But just a bit of a taste of what's happening towards the end of the week. High pressure runs back towards us, so the winds should ease off, the showers should clear away, and things are looking much more settled, but a little bit cooler towards the end of the week. But for the next few days at least, we've got some strong winds, we've got some heavy rainfall, particularly across the South Island, and we've got some more wintry weather in store as well. So please head along to the Met Service website for all the latest information on those severe weather watches and warnings, and that's metservice.com.